Marvel just quietly dropped one of the most important Spider-Man films in years, and half the audience doesn't even realize what they watched. Because on the surface, Brand New Day looks like a simple street-level Spider-Man story. Peter Parker, New York, bad guys, done. But underneath, this film is doing something massive. It's rebuilding Spider-Man from the ground up, planting seeds for the X-Men, teasing the symbiote, setting up Doomsday, and doing all of it while nobody's paying attention. Today, we break down every single detail, every Easter egg, every plot hole, every tease for what's coming next. Let's go. Before we start, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, did you catch all of this on your first watch? Because I promise you, you didn't. And that's not an insult. This film is dense. Now let's set the stage. After the events of No Way Home, Peter Parker is nobody, literally. The world forgot he exists. No Avengers, no Tony Stark, no safety net. Just a guy in a spider suit trying to protect New York one block at a time. And that setup, as humble as it sounds, is actually the smartest thing Marvel could have done with this character right now. Let's start with the biggest swing in the entire film. Jean Grey, played by Sadie Sink. And yes, she is the main villain. Ryan Reynolds wasn't wearing a gray suit at Comic-Con for nothing. That was a hint. And the film delivered. Jean Grey is here. She's powerful. And she's dangerous. Throughout the story, she keeps trying to break into Damage Control's facility to get to something called VMAX. And the second that name dropped, every Marvel fan immediately thought, symbiote. The one left behind from Tom Hardy's universe. Smart misdirect. We'll come back to that. But here's what makes Jean truly terrifying in this film. She can jump between minds. She can take control of people around her. And her range? Exactly 33 feet. That detail matters. Because it's what forces Peter to make some genuinely questionable decisions mid-film, including leaving a helicopter pilot stranded in the air to keep him out of Jean's reach. Which, honestly, terrible plan. Because the second Peter flew away, what stopped Jean from just dropping the pilot and grabbing someone on the street instead? Exactly what happened. Points for creativity, Peter. 0 points for logic. Her full name in the film is Jean Elaine Grey. Elaine is canonical. It's the name of Jean and Sarah's mother from the comics, the woman who abandoned them because of their mutations. The film takes a free adaptation approach from there, but the detail is deliberate. And Sarah's ribbon? Yellow and green. The exact colors of Jean Grey's classic comic costume. That's not a coincidence. That's Marvel telling you exactly what Sadie Sink's future looks like in the X-Men film. Now let's talk about the twist that divided audiences. VMAX. The whole film builds around Jean desperately trying to reach this mysterious object inside Damage Control. Symbiote references everywhere. Fans going crazy. And then the reveal hits. VMAX isn't Venom. It's not a weapon. It's not even a secret project. It's a worn-out sign. Vent Max, a ventilation equipment manufacturer. The last thing Sarah ever saw before she died. And look, some people hated this. They felt cheated. But honestly, the misdirect was executed better here than most Marvel fake-outs in recent memory. The emotional logic holds up. John wasn't chasing a weapon. She was chasing her grief. That's actually a more interesting story than Spider-Man fights Venom again. As for the actual symbiote, no sign of it. The biggest candidate for holding it was Tombstone, who showed up in that chaotic villain montage at the start and then essentially did nothing. Given how massive Tombstone is in the comics, fans expected more. But Feige has a plan. Tombstone isn't meant to replace Wilson Fisk. Kingpin is coming back. And Feige himself teased his appearance in the next film after the premiere. Let's talk about two of the best dynamics in the entire film. First, Elena Belova. Her cameo is genuinely brilliant, and not just because it's funny. The sauna scene, where Elena makes Peter strip down before they talk business, is a direct reference to real New York criminal culture. The head of the Russian mob, Yevsey Agron, famously held meetings at the Russian and Turkish baths on Manhattan because, as Elena explains, a naked man can't hide a weapon or a wire. And you can check his tattoos, which in the criminal world is critical information. But beyond the comedy, this scene does something emotionally important. Elena gives Peter the big potatoes, small potatoes speech. Avengers handle the world-ending threats, Spider-Man handles New York. And that's actually the perfect closing of a circle that started in Homecoming, when Tony Stark told a young Peter Parker to stay in his lane, be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter spent 3 films fighting against that role. And now, after everything, he's finally living it. Not because he failed, because he grew into it. That's beautiful writing. Second, The Punisher. Frank Castle and Peter Parker share a dynamic that is genuinely the most entertaining thing in this film. The history between them is already established. Something happened on Staten Island, we don't know what, but they know each other well enough that Peter can ask Frank for shelter, and Frank can shoot Peter without it feeling personal. The Staten Island references are going to fuel fan theories for years. And good. Don't explain it yet. Let it breathe. The finale plays out on Staten Island too, which means Frank accidentally shooting Peter there adds a layer of dark comedy to every future scene between them. If Castle comes back in the next film, and he should, that moment will land even harder. William Metzger, played by Trammell Tillman. And this guy is a problem, in the best possible way. He's running damage control. He's hired the Hand. He's collecting mutant abilities. And the moment Peter figures out that damage control are the real bad guys is textbook Peter Parker. He only connected the dots because Jean accidentally revealed Sarah's name while digging through his mind. Not exactly a masterclass in detective work. But that's canon. Peter Parker is brilliant with science and terrible with people. The film leans into that perfectly. Metzger escapes at the end. No one can find him. And that loose thread isn't a setup for Spider-Man 5. That's a setup for the X-Men film, because every great X-Men story needs a human villain who genuinely hates mutants. Bryan Singer had Stryker. Days of Future Past had Bolivar Trask. Logan had Xander Rice. Metzger is being positioned as that character, the institutional face of anti-mutant hatred. Give him a Sentinel program and we're off to the races. Let's be honest about the one real weakness in this film. Where does Peter Parker get his money? The film establishes he lives in a cheap apartment. Fine. But he's also ordering food regularly, running a high-end PC setup with multiple monitors, and operating a sophisticated 3D printer. For a guy with no job and no known income source, that's a lot of unexplained hardware. But the film never tells us. And in an otherwise grounded, realistic project, that gap stands out. J. Jonah Jameson would have fixed this instantly. Peter working at the Bugle, anonymous beneath the nose of the man who hates Spider-Man most. That's gold. Instead, we got nothing. Hopefully the next film addresses it. Peter's spider puberty arc. That's the phrase they went with. Not mutation. Not neogenic nightmare. Spider puberty. Look, the word mutation is clearly off limits right now. Marvel hasn't figured out exactly how mutants work in this universe yet, and they don't want to box themselves in before the X-Men film establishes the rules. So Jean Grey is never called a mutant in Brand New Day. Not once. Which is genuinely ironic, because she's the first canonical MCU mutant we've met on screen, and they won't even say the word. The arc itself, Peter's abilities going haywire, his emotions triggering dangerous spikes in strength, works well enough as a concept. But the resolution feels rushed. He unlocks his full potential, disperses the Hand, and just fixes himself. Apparently. Earlier script versions reportedly included a full spider transformation sequence and a proper neogenic nightmare storyline. It got cut, reportedly to avoid frightening younger audiences. The result is a storyline that raises big questions and answers them a little too quickly. And then there's the scene that nobody can stop talking about. Ned's tracker. And what it found. Here's the theory that's gaining the most traction right now. The tracker didn't find another Spider-Man somewhere on Earth. It found another Spider-Man's entire world. Because we're heading into Doomsday. And the trailers have already shown us what that looks like. Not just portals, not just variants. Entire universes physically colliding. Planets slamming into each other. What Ned's tracker might have detected is Tobey Maguire's universe. On a collision course with the main MCU. And if the leaks about Doomsday are accurate, the first casualty in those collisions is Tobey's world. Which means that post-credits scene could literally be a tease of his death. His universe, detected, and already doomed. Meanwhile, the X-Men's universe is also in play. And the theory goes, the X-Men, who have dealt with multiversal threats before, already destroyed Tobey's world trying to stop the collision, unknowingly saving the main MCU Earth in the process. And the Avengers have no idea any of this is happening, because they're sitting in bathhouses while the multiverse collapses around them. Is this confirmed? No. Is it the most compelling reading of that scene right now? Absolutely. Spider-Man 5 is coming, eventually. But don't expect it before 2029, because Feige has said Marvel's entire focus right now is Secret Wars. And Peter's story is too connected to too many characters to figure out until after the multiverse resets. What we do know, Ned's Hobgoblin arc is coming. Jacob Batalon has said he'd love to play the role, and the comics version, where Ned gets hypnotized and manipulated into becoming a villain by the real Hobgoblin Roderick Kingsley, fits perfectly into where these characters are heading. MJ is gone from Peter's story, at least romantically, and Peter's inhibitor, the device he built to suppress Jean's powers, is a Pandora's box. The government now has a blueprint for suppressing mutant abilities. The man who built it is Spider-Man. That's a storyline with massive consequences. Just not for Peter's films, for the X-Men's. So here's the bottom line. Spider-Man. Brand New Day is not a loud film. It's not trying to be No Way Home. It's not bringing back 3 Spider-Men or collapsing the multiverse. It's something quieter and in some ways more ambitious. It's rebuilding Peter Parker as a character with a clear identity, a clear purpose, and a future that isn't dependent on Tony Stark's shadow. Is it perfect? No. The mutation arc needed more time. Tombstone deserved better. And someone please give this man a job. But as a foundation for what's coming, as a bridge between the Spider-Man we knew and the X-Men era that's approaching, Brand New Day does exactly what it needed to do. Next stop, Avengers Doomsday. And that's where we find out if any of this was worth it. Drop your theories in the comments. Did you catch the Staten Island detail? Do you think Ned's tracker found Tobey's world? Let me know everything. Like the video if you want more Marvel deep dives, and I'll see you in the next one.